Lyon are in danger. The 7-time winner of the top football league in France are, as of November 2023, dead last. It is an unthinkable decline for one of the country's biggest clubs. So, how on earth did this happen? In September 2023, Lyon's season should have reached its lowest point. Following a humiliating defeat at home to Paris Saint-Germain, the team were called to face the club's ultras behind the goal and publicly berated for their performance. The footage went around the world. It was amusing for rivals, but humiliating for the players and for a club who were playing in a Champions League semi-final 3 years ago, and were, until recently, the dominant force in French football. In the 2000s, Lyon won what is still a record 7 consecutive Liga titles, between 2001 and 2008. And their teams were built around some of the finest players in Europe. But 2008 was the last time that they won a title, and in the 15 years since, their league form has trended downwards. They last finished as high as second in 2016 and haven't even placed within the top 4 since 2019. And in the present day, relegation is a possibility. So, what is going wrong? Well, there is no silver bullet explanation, rather a range of different influencing factors. When the coronavirus pandemic hit European football, Liga cancelled their season, rather than attempting a restart. That cost the club somewhere approaching €40 million. Later in 2020, the collapse of the agreement between broadcaster MediaPro and Liga had a devastating effect on French football. The deal was supposed to be worth €2.75 billion across 4 seasons. Following its cancellation, the league was forced to hastily negotiate an agreement with previous rights holder Canal+, worth around €360 million less each season across that period. But to differing degrees, those were factors that impacted French clubs as a whole, not just Lyon. Their specific decline has been accelerated by localised problems, the first of which has been managerial instability. Now, currently, Lyon are coached by former player Fabio Grosso. He was recently injured during an attack on the first-team bus by Marseille fans. Grosso is the 5th permanent appointment since Bruno Genesio departed the club in 2019, and Lyon have had 6 coaches in 4 years. That lack of sustained tactical direction has shown most obviously in the league table, but also the failure of high-potential players to realise their talent. Maxence Caqueret remains a good player, but has yet to reach the levels expected. The same was true of Hossein Mouar before he departed. Pape Cech and Jeff Reina-Adelaide both had very underwhelming periods at the club, as did Romain Favre, an exciting attacking midfielder who cost Lyon €15 million, but would be loaned out within a year of arriving and eventually sold. Coaching changes weren't entirely responsible in any of those situations, but they are all partially symptomatic of that absence of continuity, and transfer market performance has also been poor. Since 2019, Lyon have lost an extraordinary amount of talent. From a long list, a select few are Tanguy Ndombele, Nabil Fekir, and Ferland Mendy from 2019, Bertrand Traoré, Martin Terrier from 2020, Maxwell Cornet and Bruno Guimaraes were sold during the 2021-22 season, and Lucas Paqueta the year after. Malo Gusto was sold to Chelsea in January 2023, Bradley Barcola and Kostea Lukeba departed for PSG and RB Leipzig 6 months later. In addition to which, Hossein Mouar, Moussa Dembele, Jason Denayer and Jerome Boateng all left for free during the same period. Sales are hardly unusual for clubs outside of the Premier League, and with French football still feeling the effects of the MediaPro saga, they are also a necessity. Without regular participation in the Champions League and access to its lucrative revenues, that has been the case for Lyon too. Unfortunately, their attempts to be creative in the transfer market in response have not been successful. In The Guardian, Adam White wrote that many rivals, notably Nice and Monaco, have successfully built their models around signing promising players from across the continent and developing them before selling them for a profit. Lyon's attempts to copy their rivals have been disastrous. Most of their signings feel like gambles, few have worked, and the quality lost for free has not been replaced. And alongside the talent drain and coach turnover, Lyon's ownership situation has also changed. Since 1987, the club had been owned by Jean-Michel Aulas, but was sold in December 2022 to US investor John Textor, who is now the club chairman. Textor's Eagle Football Holdings acquired the club for €900 million, the most paid for a French team in history. But harmony between the old and new regimes was short-lived. Aulas had originally been due to run the club as an honorary president for 3 years, Instead, following disagreements over strategy, he departed within 4 months. And still a minority shareholder, he has been public in his criticism of Textor. He is also suing him, in an action leading to almost €15 million worth of team funds being frozen. The club's parent company, the Olympique Lyonnais group, had a net debt of €321 million at the end of 2022. In July 2023, the club's transfer activity was limited by the DNCG, French football's financial watchdog, after the organisation ruled that Lyon provided insufficient financial guarantees. Textor publicly contested that ruling, but Lyon spent just €20 million over the summer, despite selling over €100 million worth of players. And the financial restructuring continues. In May 2023, a controlling stake in OL Reign, the club's women's team, was sold. Textor has previously described the club as being way too heavy on physical assets and has indicated his intent to pay down Lyon's debt and invest in infrastructure serving Lyon's youth development. "Give me a year and a half," he said in a statement published on Lyon's official website. "Our approach has worked in other markets. We will see if it works in Lyon." And where the club will be in June 2024 remains to be seen. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to some of the world's best sports journalists, including journalists dedicated to each Premier League team, so every fan gets the coverage they deserve, not just the big clubs. And you can try it for free now for 30 days. See the link in the description.